great fan participation for Fan Day. It was not the greatest weather, obviously, but yet we had a tremendous turnout. So I think some of the freshmen look at this program a little differently now, because it's a new experience for them. Thought that overall it was a solid scrimmage. We had routine plays were made, and that's what this game is about. It's not so much the great plays all the time, it's the routine plays. I thought we did a good job of making routine plays. I thought we overall that Carlton and Holton, I'll be saying that all year long, pitched very well along with the relievers. I'm looking for a little more out of some of the relievers that threw today, but very impressed with others that threw today. And you've got to have that to be successful.
So at the beginning of some of those innings, you were working on some situational stuff, putting some guys on first, doing things of that nature. How you feel like this team is situationally there now?
I'm pleased with some of the young guys with the way we've been advancing runners. Defensively, when you've got Sansone, who's been around the block at playing third base, you've got a number of pitchers that have been in our program. I'm very pleased with the way the pitchers are bouncing off the mound after the bunts. John is handling all of the situations that can come up first and second. That's encouraging. We do that because I hate starting an inning with nobody on, nobody out. I'd rather have something going on to see what kind of scrap, competitiveness, for a better word, what the pitchers have. Do they have the competitiveness to get out of a first and second, nobody out?
Is Sony completely comfortable in that situation now? Because he really looks like he looks the part.
Yeah, he is. He had a good fall at the position, learned a lot, but he has played a little third base before now. But the double play that he turned in about the seventh, I was on the first base side, and when the ball was hit, he looked like he had been there all of his life. The way he moved his feet, got himself in position to get the good hop, and then turned it.
Now, last season you talked about how you wanted the team to field well. Is that something you're looking to do also this season?
We have got to do a better job of fielding this year than we did last year. And what I'm seeing now, I like. We haven't played a game yet, but I am encouraged by what I've seen thus far.
What have you seen out of Cal behind the plate, coming in as a freshman now? Is he getting the command that he needs to be able to, control some of these pitchers and then call the game the way he wants?
I think that he'll gain something every day that he goes out there. He's still got a long way to go, but I am seeing a guy that understands the game, knows what he's got to do to get better, and once he starts doing things during the games, I think the pitchers will gain more confidence in him. He's a good receiver. We've put a lot of pressure on him and running guys this spring. He just needs to get out there and play now.
Do you have any preseason goals for the team?
Just try to get better every day, because when you think you've got this thing figured out is when you're going to fall flat. And our guys understand that, and that's our goal, is just get better every day.
Henderson seemed very comfortable at second base. Was he showing you all that you really wanted to see out of your guy in that spot?
Yeah, Matt's played very well at second. Played short most of his career, but very pleased with what I'm seeing out of him at second base. He was a big part of the puzzle. When we found out that he could play second base comfortably is when we said, John's playing third. Been very pleased with that.
How'd you feel with Busby at first today? He looked like he was able to make a couple pretty big athletic
Busby had a good day. Even though, they got him out at the last to end it. Very pleased with the at-bats. He seems to be beginning to get a grasp of first base. Remember, we didn't move him to third until late. There's only a week or two left of so-called practice where we could go out for 2 hours a week. And we moved him to first and looks at kind of like what we said. Then we threw him at first as soon as we started spring training. So he's only really been there for 2 weeks, but I'm certainly impressed with his work ethic over there.
You said you felt really good about having Chico at the top of the lineup. What did you see out of him today?
Had some good at-bats. There's a couple of guys that are fighting for that leadoff spot. Chico's a tough out. I'm looking, right now, I'm looking at him as leading off for us.
Who else is fighting for that spot?
Walls could hit second. That would be something that you don't expect if you're on the other team and you go, my gosh, they start switch, and then if you put Cal third, that would be ironic, because going to the bullpen's not going to affect. But we got to figure out if we did it that way, we would have to figure out who's hitting 4 and 5, and Cal is not your prototypical 3-spot hitter. A guy like Busby is your prototypical 3-spot hitter because he can run, he can hit with power. He's the 3-spot guy. But then you got Quincy. So there's some good problems to have with the batting order. John Sansone has had an outstanding spring. I mean, John could be hitting third. He's a guy that can run, he can bunt. He had 9 home runs, if I'm not mistaken, last year. So you got a guy that could hit there and then maybe hit Quincy 4 and Cal 5. But all of that is just going through my mind now. It's kind of fun to sit here and talk about it, to tell you the truth.
It'll be interesting to have someone like Benny back, lower in the lineup and try and have that speed combo there at 9-1 with him and Henderson.
Yeah, that has certainly entered my mind. I want to get Benny in a better spot than that before the next month goes by. I see him starting to adjust to a new way to hit. He's been working with Meat on some stuff, and he's starting to look better. He's starting to look like a tougher out, and that's what we're after, tough outs.
Is there anybody in particular that's stood out to you up to this point?
As tough outs?
Well, just impressed you over practice up to today.
Well, that Donovan Petrie has been a good-looking hitter. He's liable to run into one here and there. I would have to say that, another switch hitter, number 2. What's his dadgum name, John?
Luke.
Jackson Luke.
Yeah, Luke.
Luke. Spelled
Lueck.
Yeah, pronounced Luke, because I called him Luick for I don't know how long. But Jackson has been one that runs well, switch hitter, got a chance. We're going to see a lefty opening day, and we're probably going to see a lefty the second day.
And you had him have those back-to-back bunts, I believe, today. Was that intentional? Was that something that you wanted to see out of
It's
him?
kind of a reward. If you move them, you get to come back and hit. If you don't, you're not looked at very good.
Is there a little more clarity on who's going to be starting opening day in the corner outfield spots?
It's still, no.
Still
It
up in
really
the air?
isn't, no. See, not Dylan, but, Darren Miller can play left or right field. So, if we started Miller in right and Luke in left, then we would have the right-handed guys in the lineup.
So it's kind of, it'll vary day by day based on which type of pitcher you're.
Yeah. When, hopefully there's so much that can happen. You just hope and pray you don't get anybody hurt. Cause that changes some things, changes some things.
Well, it sounds like you guys have so many options this year in terms
Got
of.
more options than we had last year, that's for
Right.
sure.
And yet, looking around some of these preseason rankings, obviously you guys don't pay attention too much to them, but in the years past, it's always Florida State's top 5, top 10. This year, maybe a little bit less expectation. Is it almost maybe, not, I don't want to say easier, but maybe more comfortable to come in and just play and just kind of not worry about being a top 5 or top 10 team and just worry about your team specifically and trying to make a run that way?
Yeah, you could look at it that way. We look at it as a goal to say, is this really where we are? Or do we need to step it up and prove where we think we should be? Any good competitor has to feel that way. I'm anxious to see if that's the way they feel. I can't make them feel that way. I'm anxious to see if they're fighters that say, we know where we should be, let's go prove it. So there's just so much though. I'm not saying we belong to be any higher than we are. I'm just saying we need to maybe use that as motivation and get after it.
Is there something that excites you about this team in particular?
Overall speed, overall team speed. If we happen to start Luke and Darren, you would have exceptional speed in the outfield. You would have excellent speed at the 4 infield positions, and not a base clogger by any stretch of the imagination. Behind the plate, I'm not saying he's going to steal 15 bases, but I'm saying he's not a base clogger. He's a baseball player. So you got, guys that can take the extra base, that you don't worry about scoring from second on a double. You know what I mean?
Thanks,
Okay.
brother.